let's get to the position where it all starts on offense, and that is the quarterback. Last season, they lost star quarterback DJ Irons in Week 5 to a torn ACL, which just kind of added to the struggles of the Zips in 2023. DJ Irons and Jeff Undercuffler Jr. have both graduated. They do return Taj Bullock, and they bring in Ben Finley from California. How did the quarterback room look and shape up in the spring?
So in the spring so far, it's been a battle between those two, between Taj Bullock and Ben Finley. The decision ultimately has not been made yet. But from what I'm hearing from the team, the workouts have been good from the both. And it could come down to being a Week 1 decision. Nobody truly knows who's ahead at this point. But it's definitely between those two. There's nobody else in contention for the position at this point.
And it's kind of interesting. It was just between them two because their styles are very different. One's a much more mobile, kind of a dual threat quarterback, and Bullock, and then Finley's the more, I guess, not to say he's not mobile, but he's more of a typical pocket passer type.
And that's one thing that I've noticed, at least from Joe Moorhead, is, take it from DJ Irons and Jeff Undercuffler last year, also two completely different styles of play. Joe Moorhead is able to kind of make any quarterback work in any system. Now, it hasn't translated to wins so much yet, but if you look at on the field, I think one of the positives about Joe Moorhead is it doesn't matter who's at the quarterback position. He's able to adjust his offense and make those decisions in order for the team to be successful.
Moving over to the running game, which had its share of struggles in 2023, they lose leading rusher Lorenzo Lingard to graduation, as well as Drake Jackson. For return, Charles Kellum, Blake Hester, and others. They bring in Jordan Simmons from Michigan State, Marquise Williams from Minnesota. How did the running back group look in the spring?
So Jordan Simmons is the one that's had the most consistency, getting the most reps out of the team. So definitely look for a lot from him this season. However, Charles Kellum is close behind. He's had a very productive and successful spring ball. So it might be a 2 running back system, but definitely Simmons is at the forefront right now.
Would you, if it's a two running back system, would you say like 60-40, 50-50, 70-30? What do you think?
I would probably go 60-40 towards Jordan Simmons, especially just because he has the experience and he's getting the most reps in practice from what I've heard.
Despite the issues at quarterback last season, the passing game had its moments in 2023. They do need to replace a lot of lost production. Leading receiver Isaiah Gathings has gone to Connecticut. Daniel George has graduated, but they do return Alex Adams, Bobby Golden, Adrian Norton, and Miles Walker. How did the wide receiver room shape up in the spring?
So Adrian Norton, Miles Walker, and Bobby have all been looking at like the top receivers so far. As it was Adrian's first year last season, he's become a primary target. So look for a lot out of him this coming season. Alex Adams, I think, has not been fully healthy through the spring. So I don't know. I can't elaborate too much on that. I don't know the details of his injury or anything like that. But I'm sure if he is healthy for Week 1, I would still put Alex Adams as probably the most productive receiver on the roster.
Yeah, speaking of Adams, he was very productive in 2022, where he had 855 yards and 9 touchdowns. Assuming he's healthy, do you think he can either meet or exceed that in 2024?
Oh, absolutely. I think especially if they can get a consistent quarterback, whether that's Taj or Ben, Alex Adams will definitely be a huge part of this offense going into the season.
Who do you think might join, assuming Adams is healthy and is a starter? Do you think it's Norton and Walker are the other 2 starting receivers, or?
Yeah, I would definitely go Adrian Norton and Miles Walker at the other 2 positions. I think those 3 would be complementing the quarterback in the best way.
In 2023, the tight ends were not heavily involved in the passing game. Do you think that kind of will change in 2024, or will it be more of the same?
So I actually don't think it'll change too much. I agree with you. There was not a lot of involvement from the tight end position. I think that's just kind of Joe Moorhead's MO. He doesn't really see a spot for them in this offense, but I'm sure in the coming seasons, everything's different. Obviously, when you have 2 losing seasons under your belt, some things need to change no matter what. Got a new offensive coordinator in there. So I think maybe a little bit more production out of the tight ends, but I wouldn't say overly too much because Joe Moorhead just isn't very keen on using his tight ends.
Yeah, they lose TJ Banks to graduation, and they return Jake Newell, and they bring in Max Wisner coming over from Missouri. Who do you think might lead that tight end room now?
I would probably go Jake Newell just because he's been within the program, and Joe Moorhead, has a little bit of trust in him compared to the other guys that have just transferred in or are newer.
The moving over to the offensive line, they also lose some production from 2023 as well, losing three starters and Ronan Chambers, Nate Williams, and Ben Frank, and a couple of key backups and Brian Kilbane and Tony Georges. What did the Zips do to shore this unit up in the spring?
So they gained a few transfers. Key transfer is Eli Fields that came to mind for me. I think he'll be a good he'll produce a lot on that offensive line. But yeah, through the transfer portal, Joe Moorhead was able to make a couple decisions and kind of fill in those positions that were lost.
Did they look good in the spring, or was it still kind of like a work in progress? Or
so actually something different about Akron's spring game is they changed it from an actual spring game to more of a controlled practice. I don't know what the reasoning for that was. They never really released a true reason other than player safety. So you didn't really, I had a couple of my team members from WZIP at that game covering for us. And they said that we didn't really get the best look at the team. It was really pretty much a practice with fans. So out of just what we got from that, I would say that I can't really say yes or no what the improvements have been. I watched some videos that my guys took, and I mean, the quarterback room looked good. The wide receivers are making some plays. A lot of the younger guys are making some plays, which I noticed. So I really think that this year the offense will definitely be improved from the past two, just because I think the new system and the new coordinators will do very well.
if you had to pick an offensive player to have a breakout type season in 2024, who would that be?
Ooh, that's tough. I think I would probably go Adrian Norton, especially with the questioning of Alex Adams' status. Who knows? That could be a week one thing or it could be an extended injury. I think no matter who the quarterback is, Ben Finley or Taj Bullock, you look for Norton to get some reps and kind of be that breakout player on this offense.
Norton, does he play in the slot?
Yes.
That's kind of what I remembered. He's a smaller, shiftier, fast guy.
Yep.
Hey, one, two, three, we cheer the Akron. We cheer the Akron.